Alright, I'm going to discuss the Upanishads again. This time I'd like to focus on the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Yep, Shvetashvatara. And I'll also be smoking a bowl, naturally. First, I'd like to address a comment that I got on the previous video. Somebody suggested that I read the Mandukya Upanishad. I definitely will. I think that that's... Oh, it's actually the next one, following the Shvetashvatara. So that's coming up. So, in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, it's similar to the Isha in that it's like more like a verse structure than like a prose structure. And another similarity it has with the Isha is that it's kind of like devotional to like a personal god, which the Upanishads broadly are not. They're, well, I mean, there's a little bit of variance, but they're mostly towards just like Brahman as like an impersonal, supreme being kind of concept, supreme reality, rather than like a personal, like devotional deity. But as Iswaran points out in the introduction of the book that I'm reading, it doesn't diminish the message of the overall Upanishadic message as a whole, which is, just that, like, the key revelation that, like, all is one, what it's all about, everything is connected. One is all is one. We are all the same consciousness experiencing itself. If you're watching this video, then you probably know what Brahman is already. But basically, like, it's just cool because it's ascribing it to like a personal deity. He referred to by several names in the translation I'm reading. God, obviously, is used like with a capital G, but also one that I really like is the Lord of Love. And then also Shiva, like from the Hindu pantheon, is specifically addressed. And so yeah, it's like devotional in this way, but it's still addressing this personal deity like as a manifestation of Brahman, like the one manifestation. It's kind of hard to put into language because it's like it kind of like everything is like in the same sense that everything is the same under like the Brahman philosophy. It's like all of these different concepts, like the self, Atman, Brahman, and like the Lord of Love or Shiva or whatever that the Shvetashvatara Upanishad is addressing. They're all kind of, at least from what I could tell, interchangeable because they're all like the same thing. But I guess that the author of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, which might actually be a person named Shvetashvatara, but I think that Shvetashvatara is kind of making the argument that like there is like Brahman, the ultimate reality, and then the first, the one without a second, is like God or the Lord of Love or Shiva, and that is like the first and ultimate manifestation of Brahman, and in the same sense that Brahman is everything, it is therefore God, and also God is everything. Um, I don't know, it's confusing, but I think it kind of makes sense. I think it's similar to how in like Christianity, it's like Jesus is the Son of God, but also God. Like it doesn't like make like a ton of like logical sense, but it's like you can understand it. Like yeah, yeah. I think that it makes sense in that way. Um, okay, I'm gonna smoke this and then we'll continue the discussion. Um, and so I don't know very much about Christian theology. Um, so I found it interesting when I was reading this because it specifically outlined this sort of pantheistic interpretation of reality where the world is God, like because the world is Brahman, and by the Shvetashvatara's logic, like uh, God is Brahman and the progenitor of everything. You know, introducing this concept of a personal God as like a sort of decorator class. Now I'm thinking like computer science terminology, but like a sort of decorator class in the concept of Brahman. And it's like now we can apply this personal God to all the concepts that we have for Brahman. And I don't know, I don't think that that's commonly or widely done in any Abrahamic religion. I think that maybe Sufism and Islam works a little bit like that sometimes. Um, I know that there was one guy who was like advocating for the unity of being or whatever in like Islamic Iberia at one point. I don't know a lot about that though. But anyway, so like in this, okay, I'm gonna actually look at the text now. But in the Shvetashvatara, there's passages like, let's see if I can just find one. It shouldn't be hard. Um, basically, I'm gonna keep looking for one while I talk. But basically, okay, here we go. The Lord dwells in the womb of the cosmos, the Creator who is in all creatures. He is that which is born and to be born. His face is everywhere. So, in passages like this, it's like we can see that it's like a very strong like, pantheistic idea. Like God is everything. Like the same way that like Brahman is everything. It's saying like this specific personal God, the Lord, the Creator, is everything. And I like this weed and I like this music that I'm listening to right now. We Will Always Love You by the Avalanches. I've listened to this album like 7 times already, even though it just came out on like Thursday. So good. Yeah, okay. Personal versus impersonal side. Now I have another point in my notebook here. Oh, 8 minutes. Okay, for the YouTube algorithm, this should probably be around 10 minutes, so I can probably do a little over. Okay. Okay, so while reading the Upanishads, there's, and I think that this is like common throughout all of them, although I was specifically thinking about it in the Shvetashvatara um, for a reason that I'll get to in a moment. But I think that throughout all the Upanishads, there's kind of like an imperative tone, which I guess isn't really surprising for like a religious text, which are usually like, this is what you should believe and this is what you should do or whatever. But I kind of see the Upanishads more as like a philosophical text in some ways. But there's like this general imperative tone, um, where, and by that I mean like telling you not only that Brahman exists, but like but you need to find it, or that you should find it, because that's the only way to achieve eternal happiness. And you like need to follow the path of the sages and go sit in the cave and meditate for 36 years, and then you'll be united with Brahman, the supreme reality. And that sounds nice, but I don't think that that's the only way. And I don't know if the Upanishads are like specifically advocating for that being like like for that really being the only way to be happy at all in life, or if even like a lot of Hindu people think that, or you know, there's a consensus on that. But that's just like the vibe that I've been getting from it, and I really love this idea of you know Brahman and the unity of all things and the entire like core concepts of the Upanishad. But like I feel like that's just useful to have in your life, even if you don't want to go sit in a cave and meditate for 36 years and find the inner being, you know. Like, I really think that just being aware of this is so fulfilling. I don't know. It's like, it's like good to be aware of that, you know? And this is making me think of like Siddhartha, which is a novel that I read before the Upanishads, which got me interested in the Upanishads. But um, if you don't know, Siddhartha is like a novel, takes place during the time of like the Buddha, like ancient India, following a different person, not the Buddha, even though the Buddha is also named Siddhartha in the real world. In the book, he's named Gautama, and there's this character Siddhartha that goes on his own spiritual awakening, and it's got a lot of themes of Hinduism and some Buddhism too. But anyway, I feel like what he learns in that book is kind of like the necessary to like live a full life, like a varied life of different experiences, and that's how you can come to truly understand the world and the peace of being. And that's like a totally viable way of doing that. Like, I guess my real takeaway from like the Upanishad is like, this is it, you know. This isn't, in the words of Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers song, uh, "Can't Stop." This life is more than just a read through. Like, this is the real deal, baby. This is it. We're here. We're in it right now. Like, and they're like, why? Why are we in it right now? Why are we here? Why anything? Why do I exist? Why does any of this exist? Because it's more interesting that way. It exists because it's it should exist. Like, it just, like, why wouldn't it? Like, it's cool. Like, if if every being is part of the supreme connected consciousness, you know, then consciousnesses are like so like totally valid. Like, each consciousness is like valid in its own. I don't know. I'm getting on a tangent here. What was I gonna say? Oh, but just like, if you live an exciting life and you just like see lots of stuff and like experience everything, like experience existence, like to a full extent that like makes you like satisfied, then that's like the reason why it exists in the first place. Is for the supreme being to have that experience, like for all of us to have these experiences where we're just enjoying existence, you know? If we have like a happy, satisfied, fun life, then that's what it's all about, baby. And the Brahmin knows that, you know? Like, we all inherently know that. So, so all I'm saying is I'm not going to sit in a cave and meditate for 36 years to find Brahman. If Brahman is everywhere, then I'm going to look everywhere for it, you know? Alright. That's it for my coverage of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Stay tuned for the Mandukya Upanishad. Like that guy wanted. I wonder if he's gonna come back and watch this video.